Hi, P1 Unit 1, 1.1 Index Laws. There are three indices rules, one for addition, one for subtraction, and one for multiplication and division both. Now, if you look at the term A and superscript N, A we call it the base, and what is in superscript over here, we call it the index, exponent, or power. In the first rule, a raised to the power n multiplied by a raised to the power m, we can write it as a raised to the power sum of these two, n plus m. If you look at a numerical example, let's say a raised to the power 2 multiplied by a raised to the power 3, then we can write this as a raised to the power 2 plus 3, and you can put a little bracket around this. So a raised to the power 2 plus 3 is 5. So a raised to the power 5, or a to the 5. In order to do addition of indices, there are two conditions where the two terms bases must be the same. So a, and there must be a multiplication between terms. Opposed to this, let's say you had a into b, or let's say a squared into b cubed. You can't add these indices because their bases are not the same. So you can just write them as a squared and b cubed. Similarly, you can write a into b equals ab. Now, when there is no index is written, by default, index is 1. So when the index is 1, we don't write that. So we leave it as a into b. Moving on to the second rule, a to the n divided by a to the m can be written as a fraction a to the n over a to the m. This can be done as a subtraction. So you can write indices as a subtraction. So a to the n minus m. Can put this in a little bracket over here. Let's take a look at a numerical example. Let's say a raised to the power 5 divided by a to the 2. Can write this as a raised to the power 5 minus 2, which should be a cubed. Third and the final law is multiplication or the division law. This based on whether the number you are multiplying with either a whole number or a fraction. If both the numbers are whole numbers, then it's a multiplication. If either one of them is a fraction, then it's a division. Let's check how we are going to do this. Now, when you have a raised to the power n in superscript, again, uh, the whole thing is raised to the power m, again in superscript. So you can write this as a multiplication, a raised to the power n times m, or you can just write it as a to the n m. Let's look at a numerical example. Let's say a raised to the power 2, or a squared, again raised to the power 3. So here we can multiply a raised to the power 2 into 3, which gives you a to the 6. Now let's go through a division. So let's make one of the numbers as a fraction. Let's raise this to the power 6 and we'll multiply by a 1/3. So you can write this as 6 into 1/3. 6 into 1/3 becomes a division, 3 times 1, 3 times 2, according to multiplication laws of fractions. And then you can write a squared as the answer. And you can have the fraction inside the bracket even. Let's say you had a to the 1/2 raised to a to the 1/2 again to the 6. So you can write this as half into 6, which would give you a cubed when you simplify the fraction. That's it. So we'll go through some examples. Okay, first example, 2a cubed raised to the power 2. Here the index of the 2 is not given, so that is 1. So both of these terms should be multiplied by this 2 over here. So 2 to the 1 multiplied by 2 and a cube multiplied by 2. So you'll be getting 1 times 2 over here is 2. So 2 to the 2 and 3 times 2 is 6. So a to the 6. Or you can write this as 2 to the 2 is 4, a to the 6. Then the second example, since they have not given any indices, you can mark them as 1 and 1. So both of these indices should be multiplied by this n outside the bracket. So you will be getting a to the n times b to the n. Then the third example, all of these terms, there are 3 terms inside the bracket, should be multiplied by this 2y squared. So 2 into 2, both are positive. So the first term would be positive. 2 times 2 is 4, 4, and you can just write y squared behind. Then when you multiply the second term, it's a negative term. So the first term is positive, second term is negative. When you multiply, you'll get a negative term. 2 times 4 is 8, and y square into y would be y cubed. Then the third term is again a positive term, which you will get a positive term as the answer. So 2 times 3 is 6. Y squared into y squared would be y to the 4. Fourth example, we can break this into two fractions as x cubed over x squared, since it's the common denominator, plus x to the 5 over x squared. Then division means subtraction, so you can subtract 3 minus 2 is 1, so x to the 1 is x, plus 5 minus 2 over here is 3, so you can write plus x cubed. Then second example, fifth example, you can divide these numbers. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Then y to the 5 divided by y to the 3 means 5 minus 3, which is y to the 2. Then sixth example, you have to multiply by this cube over here, the two terms inside the bracket. This is 2 to the 1. So you'll be getting 2 cubed, which is 8 x to the 6 whole thing over 4x to the 5. Again, you can divide these two numbers. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Then x to the 6 divide by x to the 5 means 6 minus 5, which is x. Moving on to the seventh one. Again, you can break this into two fractions. 6 to the 4 over 2 squared plus 14x to the 7 over 2x squared. Then you can simplify each fraction. 6 divided by x to the 4 divided by x to the 2. 4 minus 2 is x to the 2. So you can write x squared plus 14 divided by 2 is 7. X to the 7 divided by x to the 2 means 7 minus 2, which is x to the 5. That's the answer. Then eighth one, you can multiply. First you have to multiply from this 3 over here. Since it's the index, it's getting the priority. So here it's 3 to the 1. You multiply both of these terms, which is inside the bracket. So you'll be getting 2x. I'll write as it is 3 to the 3 cubed times x to the 12, since it's multiplication. Then you can multiply from this 2x. Then you'll be getting 2 times 3 cubed. 3 cubed is 27. So it's 2 times 27 times x to the 1 into x to the 12 means x to the 13, since you have to add them up. Then the answer is 27 times 2 is 54, x raised to the power 13. Okay, last example, we'll start with this bracket. This 3 index is 1 and x's index is 1, so you have to multiply both indices by this 2. So you'll be getting I'll write 4x squared over 2x as it is for now. So 4x squared, the whole thing over 2x, minus 3 squared within brackets times x squared, and 3 square is 9, and then you have to multiply that 9 by this minus sign, and outside the bracket you can simplify these. 2 times 1, 2 times 2, and x square minus x would be x to the 1 would be x, so 2x would remain outside, and inside the bracket would be minus 9x squared. Then when you get rid of the bracket, you have to distribute this 2x. You'll be getting minus 18 x into x squared would be x cubed. That's it.